Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we've got Starladder Southeast Asia Division coming up. What are we up to, Brian? Day 16, day 18.
Woo.
Holy Toledo. It's flying by.
Woo.
I'm Zyori, this guy's K-Pop Tosis, and we've got 3 games coming up tonight. First of which will be Arrow versus Immunity. Then we've got Insidious Idol versus Invasion. Then we're going to wrap things up with Mineski versus First Departure.
Full group of games.
Yeah, it certainly is.
I'm excited. I haven't seen much SCA Dota in a while.
Yeah, and our first one will be a little late here, mostly because of Arrow. I don't know what the issue was, but the admins informed me that we would be getting going a little later than usual today, so at least we got in at a reasonable hour.
Yeah, it's been kind of the day of standard drafts unless you pick a support Ursa.
Yeah.
5 seconds remaining.
Welcome to this patch.
For those of you that weren't with us earlier tonight, it's basically we've been casting and we had 2
Radiant team
drafts today, and they're all pretty standard drafts: Dooms, Vipers, Nature's Prophets, Rastas, Death Prophets getting banned out, etc., etc. But there was a support Ursa earlier, and it didn't really work out. But
Yeah, that's an understatement. It was a bloody disaster. So Immunity, they've been one of these teams that's been looking pretty good. Let's actually take a gander at the grid and see how SCA is looking right now. We've got Immunity. They have played 8 of their games, and they are 2-6. So they're actually not sitting quite so pretty.
Yeah.
I think what I meant to say is that they've been looking pretty good in terms of the games they've put up, but still haven't really been able to secure too many wins. Recognize my buddy Slicks over there, and they've have 2 stand-ins today, so having some more roster issues, it would seem. Arrow, they've been looking a bit better. They've played 8 games, sitting 5-3. So in 5th place right now, they certainly need a win here in this matchup. So I feel like there's just not that much to say about this draft out of the gate, other than Immunity going to be doing some pushing. That's kind of the obvious about it. But
I'd hate to be going up against Doom Viper. That just sounds not fun.
Ooh, the Shadow Demon from Arrow. This is a hero that has actually not been getting a lot of love recently. We saw him banned out in one of the games earlier today, but just in general, he hasn't really been picked or banned all that much in most of this Starladder coverage. So I'm excited to see him picked here. Maybe a Mirana pick could be inbound for Arrow.
I think this word about Shadow Demon is it's not really obvious what he gives you, right? He gives you really good setup and with his Q, but when you think about his ultimate relative to a lot of other heroes, it's just kind of, it's like, yeah, the purge is good. It's a slow that goes through BKB. It's like, well, when you compare it to a large damage nuke or a big pushing ability, it kind of isn't as scary. So it's more about how his entire kit kind of comes together as a hero. And sometimes it's not as exciting to see, but he can still be a good hero in the right setups.
Yeah, I think a bigger issue is he needs a buddy. He's not one of those solo supports that can just straight up own a lane and zone somebody out like a Skywrath mage who somehow has made it all the way through this draft and has not been picked. And I think Immunity are angling for a Skywrath pick if he doesn't get snatched here. Maybe Arrow are considering pairing him with the Shadow Demon, but not really a lot of synergy between those 2 supports. No. I guess they could.
Someone, they're not going to take any damage from that ultimate.
Yeah, I guess they.
You could silence and Soul Catcher. That'd be interesting. That'd be a lot of damage.
Yeah, I think they could pick up like a Mirana and Skywrath here if they really wanted to, but that would still be kind of funky. You'll have to just be patient and see what Arrow want to do with it. And okay, they'll pick up the Dazzle. So here's that duo of supports that are often paired together.
All right.
The obvious synergy there. You pop out of the disruption, you get heal bombed, and it hurts quite a bit.
Right. Also, an important thing to note, because our fans can't notice with the static Starladder overlays, DDZ is not playing for Arrow.
Yeah, they have a stand-in for DDZ and 2 stand-ins on the side of Immunity. They're missing Godat and
10 seconds remaining.
Looks like they're missing Risk as well. So Shaitan, Balls, and Slicks will be the 3 proper members of Immunity here. But ooh, the Lone Druid. Okay, we actually saw some Lone Druid play in SCA either yesterday or the day before. It worked out all right. You know, knocking down some towers. Probably looking for like a quick Maelstrom on the bear, and just
he's a hero that can work
10 seconds
do the dirty. Yeah, he's pretty underloved, but he does work well with these pushing lineups.
At the end of the day, no one really kills towers faster than a 6-slotted bear. So good,
Reserve
especially those
time.
high ground towers. It's just so convenient when you're pushing high ground to be able to have a lone druid.
Yeah. And he's also just he's kind of like, you just plop him in a lane and he can just keep pressuring it. That's one of the good things about him too. They'll probably look to safe lane the druid, off lane the prophet, and Immunity will just last pick their mid hero. Puck, smart choice from Arrow. I know
Radiant
that is a hero
team
they play
ban.
quite a bit.
That's a good question because prophet and druid are both solo heroes.
Yeah, no, they'll probably play a position 1 druid. I think that makes the most sense. Or they could put him mid. That's the other option. Centaur,
It's not bad.
like that
Arrow
ban from
Gaming's
Immunity. We've talked
turn
about
to
that
pick.
killer tri lane quite a bit, but ooh,
Oh.
daddy, it's the Ember
Radiant
Spirit.
team pick.
Okay.
A little bit of the fiery sword.
I'm gonna see how good MTR is. I guess he'll be playing mid. I know DDT's the one's missing, and he's usually more the mid player. But we'll see if it's a straight up difference. Is that? Oh, they have another stand. We have
No, MTR is on
Raji.
their
I
team.
don't know
It's
why I was-
Raji is there.
the color was throwing me off.
Yeah, I'm not sure what role Raji plays. That's not a
Yeah.
stand-in
10
that I
seconds
really
remaining.
recognize.
Well, he's replacing DDZ, so I was assuming it would be mid, but that's not
5
necessarily
seconds
doesn't
true.
really work
remaining.
that way.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. But
Reserve time.
I guess it'll be this is sort of an odd. Usually the Shadow Demon Dazzle is paired with some sort of a carry that has some pretty serious setup. And I guess the
Or at
Ember
least
Spirit.
burst, right?
Yeah, so maybe it'll be a position 1 Ember Spirit, offlane Doom, and Viper in the mid.
Maybe.
Because Viper doesn't really synergize with those 2 heroes all that well.
I think we're gonna see that anyway. Even though they don't, even though he doesn't, I think that's what we're gonna see. I haven't seen a whole lot of Ember Spirit anywhere but the mid lane. Not to say they couldn't do it, but it's I think the more standard.
Well, Immunity will take their time settling on their mid laner. Well, or their position 1, depending on what they want to do with the Druid. Have not seen Immunity run the lone Druid, so I don't know what their cup of tea is in terms of laning him here. Invoker could be an option for them if they wanted to give that a go. Would synergize nice with their push strike, give him a little bit of extra magic damage.
10 seconds
They do
remaining.
have an okay amount of disable right now.
Yeah, disable
5
shouldn't really be their
seconds
problem.
remaining.
It's
Enchantress.
oh, is this a
okay.
core shaker
Arrow Gaming.
It looks like it has to be.
or a
so-
core Rasta?
Oh, maybe Slicks is going to take Rasta mid. Oh,
That's probably
boy.
what more it's gonna be like. Yeah,
This is.
I like me some mid Rasta.
I don't think it's really that strong. I think
Oh,
it's
it's
cool on
not.
paper.
It's like the old school it's like the old school mid Shadow Demon, man. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it can win the lane. Yeah, you can get roamed on really easy, and farm isn't that great on you. Farm's probably a little bit better on Shadow Shaman than it is on Shadow Demon, but
The big problem with Shadow Shaman mid is he really needs to be careful with his ward usage. You have to make basically every ultimate count, where you either need to get a kill, get an
Right.
objective, and you're
10
kind of on the
seconds
clock.
remaining.
And the other team can just sort of play keep away and dodge the
5
kills and not really
seconds
give you a good
remaining.
opening. And he just falls off so fast. So it works in one of those like really snowbally type environments where he just keeps taking down towers and picking up kills. And in that case, it can be pretty potent, but more often than not, he just falls off too soon before you really break high ground, and then you're stuck with this guy that went mid and just doesn't really scale all that well.
he also dies easy.
That's the other
Pretty
problem.
easy.
He's
He's slow.
so easy to gank in
He's
the mid lane.
slow. He's squishy. It's really easy for him to get roamed on.
Very susceptible.
It's just high like difficulty. Like difficulty is high
Yeah.
of pulling this off successfully.
But on that same token, Shadow Demon and Dazzle are not particularly
They're not
great at roaming.
great,
They're not
but
a
they can
great
do
roaming
it.
ganking duo. So
With an Ember Spirit mid, like if you get a good setup, you could like, as long as the Shadow Demon, if you push the wave and they time it right, and you're smoked and you come in and get a good disruption off,
yeah, it's still gankable.
Ember Spirit can be there with chains, and then Dazzle can heal bomb and slow. So it's not great, but it's doable. It's a roaming combo that can do it.
What a depressing gem. How many godlike sprees have you gotten, Doom? Big fat zero.
Zero.
That's
None.
such a weird gem to put in your
That's not my
fiery
gems.
sword. Jesus. I
Well, you
mean,
gotta start somewhere, dude.
I guess so. It's just godlike sprees are not,
Oh, this
not
is
that common.
Aggressive.
So yeah, they'll go aggro try. It will be a tri lane around the
All
Ember
right.
Spirit. That'll be
So
Lance.
more right than I was.
Yeah, what's going on, man? I've been casting a lot recently. You know, getting that heads up.
I just haven't seen a whole lot of Ember Spirit Tri-Lanes.
Oh, yeah, certainly
Normally you
not,
want
but
levels on that dude.
Yeah, at least it's just the most synergistic of these duos. You basically never see the Shadow Demon Dazzle unless there's some hero to pair it with, and putting it with a Viper is just
It's a waste.
it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know why you do it. It's one of those, like, you can, but that's what your
30
plan was. You
seconds
should have
to
just drafted a hero that actually synergizes well with the supports, you know.
Right.
But that will mean it is Ranji mid, so he'll have a go at it on the Viper, and that leaves a safe lane Doom. So Shanghai should be able to find a fair bit of farm here in the safe lane.
Not gonna do well against Viper mid.
Yeah, this is going to be rough. Slicks is a very strong individual player, but this is just a matchup of how does a Shadow Shaman beat a Viper in a straight-up match?
He knows lane is tough too with the Null Talisman plus 6 tangos.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be enough, to be perfectly honest. But they'll have their one stand-in here. I don't know how you say this name. I don't know. What is,
Uh-oh, we have a TP.
Uh-oh. Oh, my gosh.
TP into the base to snatch the courier.
I was not ready for that one. Holy Toledo.
Well, neither was Arrow.
Okay, well, Nature's Prophet off to a hell of a start. Boots first, 2 tangos, and they'll find a courier kill. That's pretty nice. A little extra gold for the team. So Slicks will be mid, and Enchantress will start in the Radiant jungle. That puts Shaitan on the supporting Earthshaker, and Balls will be here on the position 1 Lone Druid in the safe lane. I'm not. What sound does the U with 2 dots make? Guani. I'm not sure what noise that is supposed to be.
It's.
But we'll call him Guani.
It's a. What do you call it over the top? A diaresis, is that what that's called?
I'm really not sure.
Usually it's just like a ooh sound. You just elongate the sound, like Goonie.
Guani.
Guani.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I'd pretty much say it anyhow.
It's kind of weird to see that character being used in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Considering it's like a strictly European thing.
Yeah. So Lance should find some decent farm here and a fair bit of kill potential, but the Druid not the easiest target to kill. He is pretty tanky, and he'll have the bear to kind of make things a little bit more difficult. They move right into the jungle, and they want to mess with the supports. They want to contest this and make sure Earthshaker doesn't find any additional farm, and maybe even mess with this Enchantress a little bit.
Well, that's the risk of running an aggressive tri-lane. You got to make sure you even out the experience as much as possible between the two, because if you aren't getting kills, a safe lane is just going to always get more experience through the availability of the jungle. Yeah. So invading early and often is not a bad decision if you're running aggressive.
Yeah, so up top, Zhang Zai in a lot of trouble, and there will be a teleport from the Nature's Prophet, but not finding the auto attacks he was looking for, and this will be a suicide mission. One more auto attack, and the Flaming Sword draws a first blood. It's a turnaround the other way. Oh, boy. Well, Arrow off to a hell of a start here, and Prophet had the right idea, and I think he actually could have secured that kill, but he got stuck in that sort of back and forth of fog where he couldn't get the auto attack off, and that was the end of him. He didn't need to get too many, but he needed more than that.
Well, make a big play, and then you make kind of a small play.
Yeah, it was kind of a dud. But mid lane, I guess we should keep some eyes on it here, because Slicks is doing a lot better than I would have thought. He's 8-4 against the 11-4 Viper right now. He will find the 2-minute rune. Here's a double damage put up in the bottle. So holding his own. But Raji, let's see what build is he going for here. Yeah, look at these points in Nether Toxin. No corrosive skin. I like this build. I think this makes a lot of sense against the Rasta. Just try to buff up your last hitting power, and, well, I guess the chances are Rasta probably won't be harassing you all that much, so corrosive won't come in handy, at least not until like that level 6 mark. If
he's trying to push the way with Aether Shock, he'll probably do it in a way that doesn't hit the Viper if he levels corrosive skin. The nice thing is now he doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So now he can.
Or even so, just the extra points in Nether Toxin. I mean, Shadow Shaman doesn't have a great attack animation. Not the worst, but not the best either, and this just gives Viper such an edge. And he'll actually start to pull ahead quite a bit here. As soon as I commented that it was even, Viper finds some farm. So I feel like there is quite a bit of pressure on the Enchantress to make something happen in the laning phase here. That's one of the issues with this pick, where she can be very potent if she has successful early rotations, but so far I've been happy just to sit back and farm. He has a smoke, but still haven't really seen much movement out of the Dryad.
He needs a Centaur at least.
Yeah, hasn't really found great creeps. That's a good point. Sitting on a Satyr Tormentor, and I think he had a Wild Wing. So there is a Centaur here, so maybe this will be the creep that he's been waiting for.
There, he'll pick it up.
Yep.
But Arrow has sent
Radiant's
Demon
middle
towards the
tower is
room.
under attack.
Those Shakers messing around. They're gonna go. Oh hey, there's each other.
Yeah, bumps right into Shaitan, and don't think Centaur is going to be able to get there to close the gap. Shadow Demon already has boots. It looks like a miscommunication as the fissure comes out as the Enchantress has already sounded the retreat, and it will end up as just a kind of wasted bit of mana there for the Earthshaker. And Slick, so he finds another rune, gets the regeneration here at the 4-minute mark, but all this rune movement is kind of nice, but it's really just giving Viper more space in the lane to further his farm, and he'll be well on his way to a mech. Has the headdress and the buckler recipe already picked up. So, pretty standard stuff coming out of him. Oh, Daddy missed that one. That's my bad up in the top lane. Zhengzai will find another solo kill on the Nature's Prophet. Oh, didn't even have to use the Doom ultimate there. He picked up an Orb of Venom with the phase boots, and it looks like that was enough just to chase him down.
Coming back in a Shaitan up top.
Yep, and I'm not sure, is the Shaker going to win this battle? Doom?
Oh, the crit! The crit comes through, and the Nature's Prophet will TP in, and he... Oh, no, is he going to juke him up? No, he'll get him.
There you go. He gets a recovery kill, but that crit, that was about as lucky as they come right there. 20% chance. Shaker had him on that next hit for sure. Oh, man. Now in the mid lane, we'll see a rotation onto Raji. Ensnare to start it off there. The shackles from Slick. Shaitan will rotate through, and Earthshaker's there with the fissure to bring him down. So 2 kills coming out across the map. That'll make it 2-3 as Immunity get on the board here.
And this is the good thing about the roster mid. We can go ahead and throw the wards down at this point.
Yeah, good opening set of wards here. Will do a lot of damage to this tower. I don't know if they'll be able to finish it off in one fell swoop. Maybe so, actually. And oh my god, now of course I'm missing kills as we're not tunnel visioning on the mid. But Lone Druid as well as the Shadow Demon will trade 1-for-1 down bottom. Now there will be a rotation in the mid. Raji will TP in. They do want to try and hold this tower, at least get a deny. Viper does get the last hit.
Deny.
Well, nicely done there. And that
2
will...
points another Toxin Help out there.
Yeah, that'll be a small victory. Still losing that tier 1 tower this early on hurts. And that's the kind of stuff you need to do for the Shadow Shaman mid to really work out. You need those first wards to really make a dent, and if you can get a tower with the first set, that's even better.
Indeed. And they're gonna be rotating the lanes almost all at top. 4 will roam towards that top lane. Even 4 if Nature's Prophet might join them as well. They want this top tower to die.
Yeah, Zhangzai will bump right into the Enchantress, gets a crit right off the bat, and uses the Doom ulti, but will take an Ensnare, and now he'll bite off a bit more than he can chew. It's a full 5-man rotation from Immunity. Zhangzai not quite ready for it, but Arrow has some help coming in. Dazzle will TP forward. He's level 5, does have a point in that shallow grave, and has a maxed out heal. Nature's Prophet will go down. The poison from Dazzle there to help it out. He will use the grave on himself, and the ultimate from Nature's Prophet to fly through, finishes off the Doom. Now MTR comes in, uses the disruption, and that will create enough space for the Dazzle to survive as he pops his salve.
Smart.
And it will be a 1-for-1 trade. Doom for the Nature's Prophet, and they do pull the attention off the tower.
He had 14 HP left after the Doom expired, so.
Lucky. Yeah, nicely done there. So actually, I guess Doom was really the lucky one getting that big crit to start things off. But now the pushing will commence. Immunity start knocking on the tower, bearing the front lines to tank it up. Nature's Prophet TP's in, Sprout right onto MTR, tree gets broken. Now Zhangzai TP's right into a ward trap, and it'll probably cost him his life. Down he goes, Ether Shock to finish him off. Raji taking a lot of damage, these wards doing so much work. Lance joining the party, will find the kill onto the Enchantress, but now he's stuck in the Sprout, and he'll fall. It's a 1-for-4. And Immunity getting so much momentum off this. They'll be happy to trade the Enchantress for almost a full team wipe and another tower in the first 8 minutes.
This looks like you doubted me. You doubted this roster mid. This is legit. My ward usage is going to be on point.
Yeah, dude, this is
We're going to force the other team to fight on our wards.
Perfect. They're making it look easy. They really are. And these are exactly the kind of movements you have to do. You have to draft around the roster mid. And Immunity had a game plan, dude, and they're pulling the trigger. They're
More
executing.
importantly, is just playing around it. They know the wards are up. They grouped as 4 with a Nature's Prophet on the map and decided to push. And they realized if they could force a fight, they teleported aggressively with their Nature's Prophet that forced a couple of TPs, made them fight on top of the wards, and they got a 4-1 exchange because of it.
Yeah, very nice. And now this Druid finding some extra farm there. His last hits are a little bit lackluster, only 17 and now 18, but that extra tower gold will help him out. Brown boots on the bear, and we'll see what he wants to move into for his core items. I think a Maelstrom is probably first core item. Obviously, he'll want to grab some phase boots and items on the like,
Yeah.
but
He's got a mithril hammer on the courier, so it's definitely a maelstrom.
oh yeah. It just seems. I think that's the big common build that
It is.
last like 5 lone druids I've seen have all gone for the.
That's just the Radiance Rush. It's kind of risky, especially when you've got multiple cores on the map.
Yeah, it's very hard to get away with. And now down bottom, Arrow will make a defense, and there will be a defense or an aggressive weave from the Dazzle. Pardon me, as Immunity group up once more to keep pushing. Look at this Enchantress, level 7, 4 points in the attendance. So going for kind of a max sustain build here. Slicks has the ultimate cooldown, ready to drop some wards, and Earthshaker will TP to the bottom tier 1 and commence the pushing here. So they've got this big old bear to tank things up. Now the attendance coming out.
Wards up. I don't think they don't want to use it.
No, they'll get the last hit. Instead, they'll try and take a fight, use wards for the tier 2. Searing Chains come through, don't connect on any hero. And Immunity being very cautious here. I think trying to bait out an engagement using the bear, trying to get Arrow to overcommit and then drop the hammer. But now they'll just go right into the lone druid. Viper Strike comes out.
Behind.
And he will not get caught in Searing Chains, but now Rasta wards come down. Slicks gets takes the Doom, but he's already got the ultimate out. A nice fissure to break things up. Zhang Zai will finish off the Shadow Shaman, but it'll cost him his life. A big dunk from Shaitan, doing so much damage here. The Nature's Prophet forced to tee out, will survive, and they just can't bring any of them down. Nature's Prophet still doesn't have his ultimate back, and that'll really cost him 4 null tallies. What? Oh my god, what is this build?
Yeah, you can get a 4th. This build, you can get a 4th in this build. It's okay.
4 null talismans.
Yeah.
I've seen 3. I don't know that I've seen 4. That was a great dunk and a sad dunk at the same time. So much damage, but the lack of follow-up made it such a bittersweet play.
You saw the difference between forcing the team to fight on the wards under tower versus having to throw them up as an escape mechanism and the team being able to have to fight on them for like 2 seconds and then being able to run past them. Yep. It's so important when you throw the wards down that you're going to dictate that the fight will have to stay here. If they don't have to fight on the wards, it's very easy for it to be underwhelming.
Yeah, Slicks finds the haste rune here from the 10-minute mark, throws out a Hex onto Lance, and he does not have a Remnant, so potential opportunity for a kill, but instead they'll turn on to Zhang Zai. Impetus just laying into him as they set it up with the fissure right into a Sprout. There's the Stretch Armstrong shackles.
Yeah.
And the Grave from Dazzle will keep him alive. Well played by Mosin. And Immunity will try to press forward, but out comes the mech, and that will keep their buddy alive. Instead, they'll be able to turn it around on the Enchantress. And now you see the problem with this solo mid Shadow Shaman type strategy is once you start to fall apart, you really start to crumble, and they'll trade a 3-for-0 in this exchange. And Ember Spirit will start getting a lot of momentum here. Eek. Ooh, in the jungle.
It's just a death ball without a whole lot of beef is the problem. They're not they don't have the mech up yet. Nope, they don't. The bear is kind of, you don't have to deal with him. You just pretend the bear isn't there right now.
Yeah, the bear's great for the tower pushing because he can tank it, but when it comes to the team fights, he still
just run past it.
Yeah, it doesn't really contribute all that much. And after that, Arrow will grab a tower kill, and look at that graph already starting to dip close to being in favor of Arrow, and they've got a 3,000 experience lead. That's the other issue. When you do the death ball so early, you roll the dice in terms of the experience, and if you take a bad team fight, it just gives the other team so much.
Yeah, it's just kind of odd to be deathballing this early and not have someone having built that mech. And we saw in that last fight, Doom was able to live because of the mech from the Viper.
Yep.
And turn it around.
Yeah, Prophet is pretty close to completing. It actually has the recipe and the buckler, so just a headdress away. If he got rid of one of those null tallies, he'd have it.
That is something I haven't seen on this build, is getting the mechanism.
4 null tally into mech with base boots. Yeah, this
I don't know about that.
This is definitely a different take on the Prophet. I don't know that I've quite seen it
I think this was an executive decision to send the mech on the Prophet. I think it was either going to be the Enchantress. It was probably going to be the Enchantress's choice. I don't know who was going to build it for him. There's not a really standard carrier besides the Rasta, and he went blank, which I think is pretty necessary.
Yeah, they need somebody to initiate, and you know that the Earthshaker won't have a blink dagger at a real fast timing. But the Viper with this mech has made such a difference for Arrow. If he had gone for a different item build or Russia Scepter or something, this would have been completely different.
Right.
So smart play there. Doom will just move into a Drum of Endurance off his phase boots and Oov. Pretty standard stuff coming from him. Dazzle has found a lot of experience this game. He is level 8. That's another big difference in terms of just effectiveness for Arrow, where they have extra experience on these supports, and Dazzle is one of those that just really benefits a lot from leveling up all those abilities. They'll smoke up and rotate into the Radiant jungle, may bump into the Nature's Prophet, and Immunity will actually do the same thing, looking for a kill onto Raji. There's the blink forward from Slicks. We'll start things off with the Hex. Courier flies through, will be okay, but Rasta wards come down outside of tower range. I don't know about this. As Shaitan comes in, and he'll get picked off straight away as he goes for a dunk there. Does manage to get it off, but the follow-up damage is just non-existent. Now Lance headed to the front lines. Will get turned into a chicken. Doom onto the Nature's Prophet. And Arrow will continue to pursue outward. Slicks will hop forward. Wants the kill on MTR. Will find it. Shackle right onto Zhang Zai going man mode here as the rest of Immunity reinitiate. They'll find the kill now onto the Doom and also onto Lance. It's Immunity that'll turn this around and take a very successful team fight. And apparently those Rasta wards were well worth it as they set up the beginning of that skirmish. And now Immunity, after a big exchange, will move into this tier 2 tower.
That was just a really well executed fight from Immunity there. Both of these fights have started off as one team looking like they're going to win the fight, the other team backing off, the other team overextending, and then the other team coming back around and getting a couple pick-offs and winning the fight in the end. It's like the first aggressor ends up winning, but only after they've backed off and regoosed.
Yeah, pretty much. But Immunity will get rewarded now with a tier 2 tower, and you can see the gold graph pretty much reflecting the way the momentum has been shifting this game. Completely back and forth, and now Experience will level out once more. So Prophet now moving into the Blade Mail, and he's damn close to it too. Just that one last row of the Magi away. Shaitan, well, about a third of the way to the Blink Dagger, probably stopping off for an urn, it looks like. And how's old Lone Druid doing? His Maelstrom should be completed pretty soon. 1,500 gold. Yeah, he's actually got enough to buy it right now, if that's what he wants to pick up. So things starting to fall into place for Immunity a little bit more. Roche gets pinged out by the Dire side. Maybe just
they know the Shadow Demon picked up a medallion, I think. So it's pretty obvious that that's what they're going to be going for.
Yeah. Might have been Arrow just pinging out like, hey, you know, Immunity could be in the pit right now as well. They don't have any vision in this section of the map, and they will smoke up, rotate in, and check it out. Nope. They won't go for it, just making sure Immunity aren't up to any kind of trickery.
Oh, now they see the treant, so.
Yep.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing they didn't go for the Roche quite yet, because the treant would have scouted that out.
No, I don't think Arrow are interested in rolling the dice on that front right now quite yet. Especially given how this Earthshaker's been on point with his dunks. I think they're pretty afraid of grouping up in that tiny little corridor.
It's still kind of even, and you don't really want to sneak a Roche that's that risky unless you're either behind or so far ahead it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and Arrow kind of have the late game secure. Not a huge, like, just obvious, we have the late game, but Doom, I think, Doom and Ember Spirit will just scale a little bit better, and having the Viper there is kind of an extra carry. Just going to be more potent than a Lone Druid, Prophet, Enchantress, especially with this Null Tally build on the Prophet. Sure, he's strong right now. That's kind of the power of it, but towards the late game, he doesn't have a Midas. He's not going to scale nearly as well as some of these other heroes. Kind of same with the Lone Druid.
Yeah, he's going to be going for more of a really push-heavy.
Yeah, he's going to go for let's take a big edge right now, not investing for the late game. And Doom not going for a Midas, but Devour will help him play that role a little bit. Seems to be going towards a BKB, and the Ember Spirit, well, I think undoubtedly looking towards a Battle Fury. The question is, when will he be able to get it? 17 minutes in, 900 gold towards the BF. That's not too bad. Looking pretty decent for him.
It'll be useful to counter the zoo push with a bear, treants, and Enchantress creeps to have a Battle Fury. It'll clear through that pretty fast. It'll be useful when he gets it, but he does have to get it first. With all the pressure that Immunity is putting on the towers, it might be a bit difficult. We'll see. This will be, if they got the tier 2 mid? No. Okay, so these are the only two still standing.
Yep.
For Immunity here, whereas Arrow has only got the mid tower.
Yeah, only 2 outer towers, but part of the issue is that when you knock down all these towers, you get a little gold boost, but you need to do something with it while you have it, and that means that they'll be
it's like a loan.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll be kind of obligated to try and break high ground, maybe take Roche first, and that's where things get a little bit more tricky. And really where Ember Spirit shines.
We're trading experience for gold in the short term.
Yeah. But once you start trying to break the high ground, Ember Spirit, even without a Battle Fury, he just does so much damage in that close proximity.
One of the better counter-pushing heroes in the game.
Yeah.
Dazzle's not bad at it. He's not good at it. And Shadow Demon is good against the long like sieges, right? Because he can build up a lot of stacks. He can clear any wave with 4 stacks of Shadow Poison. So
yeah,
that's their counter push is okay. It's not fantastic. So it's basically where Immunity can do it if they can do it within the next 10 minutes. After that, I'm not too hopeful for their chances of breaking high ground.
Yeah, 30 minutes is that pretty good just general rule of thumb when the pushing strats start to die off and the more late game strategies really start to kick in.
The biggest problem for me is like how they defend the bear. If they send the bear high ground and they throw wards, if the other team just decides to disrupt and go on the bear, or not disrupt but fissure it, hex it, like. Oh, man, I'm on the wrong team again. It is disruption.
Well, and here you go. The bear taking a
lot of damage. Look at that.
It will survive for now. Attendants actually come out to heal up the bear, but yeah, sort of showing us how much pressure they can put out. The weave from Dazzle just making the bear melt under all that damage. The Druid does have. Oh, he's going for a Desolator here.
Yeah, they're going all. They're all in onto this 5-man death ball push here.
Okay. I mean, that is great for killing structures, but
I don't think I've ever seen a Lundred get first item Desolator.
Yeah, I'm not so sure how well that'll work. I wonder if that's ever happened before. What
let's find out.
What the
I'm sure it's
the percentage of games. It's got to be rare though. I can't think of a game I've ever cast.
First item, I don't know.
I mean, this is like a super rush too. Even the Druid himself doesn't even have boots. It's just brown boots on the bear. Orb of Venom straight into a Desolator. That is actually his first completed item. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's actually very
low. He's pretty like middle of the pack.
Yeah, it's happened. Lundred's rushed Desolator 3 times ever.
Wow. Yeah, there you go. So bottom lane, Arrow will group up, and they start pressuring this tier 1 quite hard. Immunity will see this as an opportunity to go straight for the mid lane. Wards come down on the tier 2 tower. Doom will secure the tower kill on the bottom lane, and it will be a tower for tower exchange. Immunity pretty happy with that right now, as they are one step closer to ending all the outer structures and just going straight for the high ground. They'll move into the dire jungle and clear it out as they start to sound the retreat, at least for now. Viper will get to clean up the ward, so Raji will find a little bit of extra gold farm. It's about a hero's kill worth of gold sitting in these babies. So,
hilariously enough, all 3 times are by the same dude, Forev, from MVP Phoenix.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Balls is taking a page out of the MVP Phoenix book, I guess.
Yeah.
How did it work for them? Is it
2 wins and a loss?
2 wins and a loss? Okay. Very small sample, but at least it's not 3 losses, so I guess there's at least a little bit of merit to it.
There's some hope. There's some hope. Actually, MVP Phoenix took a game off of Arrow with the strategy, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Full in push with the bear.
All right. And maybe it is that their weak point, the Achilles heel of Arrow. Desolator first LB.
It's very specific. Achilles heel.
Well, Slicks is very close to an Aghanim Scepter, and this is one of the great things about giving that farm priority to Shadow Shaman and knocking down all these towers. He can get a 20-minute Ag's Blink.
Those things hurt.
That really ups the damage output from these Mass Serpent wards and, of course, their pushing potential. So great news there. Viper moving towards a pipe, it looks like, has the Hood of Defiance already. Kind of an odd game for it. I mean, there is
not really that much
some magic damage. Really just like the Ether Shock and the Echo Slam are the 2 big ones, and that's not that much. All the rest of it is physical. And
yeah, and he wants to take no magic damage either, because he's already got Corrosive Skin. Pair that up with a Hood of Defiance, and he's taking, like...
Yeah, he went back to max out the Corrosive.
Like 80% magic resistance.
And against the Druid and Nature's Prophet, I'd normally say, well, okay, there's going to be a couple Mjolnirs, so you got to consider that's a lot of magic damage coming out, but not today.
Desolator.
Not today. When you got Desolator, we've got
and he's not going
Mails.
for the Maelstrom afterwards. Okay, so this is
he's
just
going
a
into
complete
an Orchid.
bastardization of the build. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's much different from this prophet.
Dude, it could be a refresher. Don't.
Refresher. Let's refresh that Wrath of Nature.
Dude, it's all about the double sprouts.
Good stuff. Yeah, that 8 seconds of sprout.
Double trance is not bad.
Yeah, it's true. I
If they're
mean,
pushing.
you could get a potentially three sets of trance out at the same time.
It's pretty ass, though.
That is a legit jungle at your disposal, but don't know if that's worth the gold investment.
No, it's not good. It ain't good.
Smoke from immunity as they put a ward down on the high ground. Get a little bit of vision with these cute little magic carp wards. But momentum is slowing down a little bit in this game. I guess the pace of this game, rather, is what I really should say. But
immunity has to make a decision here.
yeah, the clock is ticking. That's the problem. I mean, sometimes it's good to sit back, farm up that next round of core items. If you're all very close, you're close to a mech, or for example, this Nature's Prophet very close to completing his Orchid. What's coming out on the courier here? That is the point booster for the Enchantress. That'll be a step in the right direction towards the Ags, but
Orchid just also seems like a weird choice if they're pushing. Why that over a Necro Book if they've been going so...
Yeah, that is a really good
question. I guess
question.
there's
See a fight break out here. Shitano uses Echo Slam straight away, does next to no damage. The mech from Vipers uses, Lance hops in. Wards from the Shadow Shaman fly through. Hex will come out right onto the Nature's Prophet. Raji takes the bulk of the damage, but he'll get the Shallow Grave, and it looks like Arrow might be able to get a full team wipe here.
Wow.
It'll be a 4-0 out of the gate, and Balls is on the run. MTR is in hot pursuit, trying to connect with the Disruption. And there are phase boots on the Druid, so won't be able to get it. Lance will actually fall to the Shadow Shaman wards after the fight's kind of finished. MTR will set up the kill onto Balls. The rest of the team will get here, and even though they lose their Ember Spirit, it will still be a full team wipe. And now things looking very grim for immunity. We mentioned the clock is ticking, and now it's, well, just about running out of time.
Kind of Salvador Dali-ish.
Yes.
It's kind of melting.
Yeah. Viper now has his pipe. Still don't think that's too game-breaking of an item, but still just added tank ability. BKB on Doom was used in that team fight, now on 1,400 gold himself. Force Staff be coming out for the Shadow Demon. Oh, boy. Well, it was a noble effort, but immunity just, they can't take fights like that. They have to be a little more aware of the positioning of the opposition. And
Arrow just executed much better in that entire game.
That'll secure the Battle Fury now for the Ember Spirit.
Oof.
Now breaking high ground, I feel like, is almost an impossibility unless they somehow find a way to pick off Lance before they move up to the Tier 3 tower. I mean, this is just, without the Battle Fury, I think he can really delay that push, and now with it, it's just, how do you stop it?
This is like the last year's Starladder land meta all over again. Zoo push strats versus Ember Spirit. And we saw that Ember Spirit would generally win those competitions. Like, we'd see stuff like this where he gets pushed back, all of his towers are gone by high ground, but then he gets up his Battle Fury. He can clear every wave that you throw in, and then they just start winning fights.
Yeah, maybe if this Earthshaker can get a Blink Dagger, they can start getting some momentum back, but he still isn't that close. Only 2/3 of the way there. And I'm not sure where he's going to find that farm in this next window of opportunity before immunity feel obligated to commence to another push. The Orchid is complete, though. The odd Orchid at that.
Yeah.
Well, Arrow, they'll use a smoke now. They'll be the ones to get on the aggressive. Dazzle finds level 11, so Weave is extra potent and synergizing very well with that Ember Spirit.
Slaughter Fist, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
If only cleave damage got amplified. Well, I guess it's good that it doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like that would
doesn't
just
care
be too
about
much.
armor.
Then we would see Sven picked up even that much more.
Well, it's almost better that cleave just disregards armor.
Is it? I go back and forth on whether it's actually a good thing or a bad thing. It's a good thing, I guess, towards the end, but it's sort of bad if you want to try to build
generally your opponent, even with armor reduction,
team.
still has more than 0 armor.
Yeah. We'll see a rotation here up onto the high ground. They'll find immunity, and they'll start things off with engagement onto the Earthshaker. He'll be the first to go down. Doom right onto the Nature's Prophet. They will find a kill on the Ember Spirit as Slicks does solo him off to the side, but the rest of his team just getting ripped apart. Shadow Demon connects with a disruption onto the Enchantress. She'll TP home. Lone Druid will get left behind, and it will be a 2-for-3 trade. Not the cleanest fight coming out of Arrow. They lose their Ember Spirit and their Doom. They're two big hard hitters, but they're just delaying right now, forcing immunity to use wards outside of pressuring any of their structures or a Roche objective.
That is not where you want to be
good
putting
news
your
for
wards
Arrow.
down.
Yeah. So even if they can continue to trade like that for the next 2 or 3 fights, maybe that'll really bode well for this Dire team. And Immunity just don't have the late game. This Druid build really doesn't seem to be working out though. In these team fights, he can't do anything.
They haven't touched a tower since he finished it.
Yeah, the Desolator.
Arrow's been smart in taking the fight to them.
Yeah.
So it hasn't paid off yet. And the Desolator is the first item is just not cost effective for damage. It's simply not. So we see the Missprout. So if he's not hitting towers, it's just the build isn't working, basically.
Yeah, you're definitely right. It's just built around smacking the structures, and at least he has phase boots, but yeah, get your brown boots back on the bear, dude. He's got double boots, 1 boot for each foot.
There we go.
There you go. Gives the phase boots back to the bear. So at least finding some extra farm here. The bear hits decently hard, but the big bottleneck is attack speed. If you hit hard, it's like Tiny Syndrome. You might hit hard, but if you hit super slow, the damage per second is a bit misleading despite seeing those big numbers. Doom will find his Blink Dagger, so now Zhang Zai has a bit more initiation power within his reach.
The guys from Arrow have decent amounts of armor too. Shadow Demon has up to 12 with his medallion now. Razor's got 12 as well.
Zhang Zai doesn't have any, but
no.
He'll probably move into Shiva's or an AC coming up in the very near future. I reckon one or the other will be his next item.
I can see Shiva's. Shiva's is pretty good as a counter pushing item, so I would be
definitely
not surprised at all if that's what we end up seeing.
Yeah, I also just don't think they need the Assault Cuirass. They don't really synergize with it all that well.
I mean, it's good on top of the Sleight of Fist if the Doom is already standing in the middle of everybody. But
it's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah, it does help buff up the damage, but all things considered, I think the Shivas is just all around more utility. And
you've already got Weave too.
Yeah, that's true. You don't really need.
And as we've talked about before, armor reduction hits diminishing returns pretty fast. Actually, after you get to like your -15s, it's just doesn't really. It falls off the amount of benefit it actually gives you.
All right, 4 hero smoke rotation from Immunity. They'll start in their jungle and move towards the Roche pit. They won't have the Nature's Prophet with them, but he can always just TP in. It looks like they actually want to try to claim Roche for themselves. They will see this Hill Troll just hiding out in there, and that will scout things out if they do break the smoke to go for Roche. Instead, they'll hop forward. Slicks goes right on to Mosin. He gets the wards down to get things started. BKB used by Doom. Dazzle, the first one to go down. A good way to start off this fight for the Radiant side, but Slicks gets doomed, and all that, you commit your roster wards for just to support Dazzle.
It's not a good trade.
It's not a good trade. It's not a bad way to start off the fight, but the problem is Arrow can just disengage and walk away. And I think Arrow can still contest this Roshan even without the Dazzle. But if they want to do it, they have to move now. Dazzle will actually buy back. They've got a tier 2 tower to TP to.
They got to go fast. This Roshan is melting. I don't think they're going to get it in time.
Nope, they certainly won't. Roche falls to the Radiant. Lone Druid the one to pick up the Aegis, but Lance coming in, doing some damage with the Sleight of Fist. Dazzle spamming the heal. There should be a weave coming out. Oh, it's already come out, pardon me. They'll find the kill on the Shadow Shaman to get things started. Without the wards, they just don't have the damage. Now Nature's Prophet falls. Glyph. It's essentially a glyph. It keeps Raji alive. The Shallow Grave flies through. They bring down the Druid once, bring him down twice, and
that's
there you go.
5-0 trade, basically, with the Aegis.
Yep. They essentially can't fight without roster wards. And even though Immunity get the Roche, it's still a great trade for Arrow, and Graph will certainly reflect that. Oh, I think it's looking pretty grim for Immunity.
Yep.
They keep finding these cute little pickoffs with the roster wards, but
and Arrow still has this tower gold to get. We were talking about how it's kind of like a loan, right? You're taking it out early, you get that maximum investment or that maximum return for the rest of the game. But Arrow, there's still a couple of towers to be gotten, gold to be gained from those as well. So if they can group together, push down 2 or 3 towers in the next 5 minutes, it's a nice buff of gold, especially for the supports, to finish up some of their second and third items.
Yeah, and now BKBs
really
are coming out of plenty on this Dire side. Doom has had his, but Ember Spirit will complete his to entirety, and Viper, I think he'll complete his Ags before he goes into the BKB, but still, that Magic Immunity just overall increasing the survivability of Arrow, and already having issues dealing with their sustain. And
these Shallow Graves have been on point, by the way.
Yeah, Mosin's just been in the right place at the right time.
This is the benefit from, I think he maxed Shallow Grave second.
Yes.
And I think that's a good build. Poison Touch is pretty underwhelming now.
It's okay if you're in a super aggro kind of a try.
Right.
It's really just for a core dazzle. If you're gonna do like the Artor solo mid Midas dazzle, then Poison Touch is amazing. But if you're playing that position 4, yeah, it tends to be the Shadow Wave Shallow Grave build that works a little better. The issue is like the Shallow Grave isn't really that much of a single value point. You really want to get it to level 2. That's the beginning of the value.
Yeah, 15 seconds at each level on cooldown, and the range increases by 150 by each 2.
Even though the range increases by a static amount, that 550 to 700 is a big jump because 550 you're like basically in auto attack range. 700 you can really sit back and most things can't hit you from that range, and you can still get the grave off. So you kind of want to prioritize your heal, but also be able to get the grave. And if you're not maxing out Poison Touch, then there's kind of no point in really giving much to it. You'll see some dazzles just grab a value point for that extra little bit of damage to maybe finish somebody off, which I think can be worth it. But
all right, Immunity's going to push top. This is basically their real last hurrah. I mean, I don't see this fight going well for them anyway, but
yeah, it's not quite Hail Mary mode yet, but they're getting there. They're getting damn close to it. Druid has 2,400 gold, still hasn't picked up anything since
they can't high ground here.
Phase Boots, Desolator. Yeah,
they
certainly
really
not
can't.
very easily. Unless Arrow takes some kind of a really bad engagement and get completely destroyed. Breaking high ground, I think, is nigh impossible at this stage. I mean, Enchantress is going for the Aghanims, so looking to scale a bit more as kind of a potential carry, but
another problem is the
still
bear
ways
just doesn't
off.
really have that much armor. He's just sitting at 6.
Yeah.
So it's like we said earlier, it's hard for them to protect the bear, and he's gonna melt pretty fast, actually.
Yeah, it looks like we could
They're
see a
close to them.
fight break out as Arrow move out of their base, and that's one thing that Arrow have done really well. Just position themselves so that they're forcing Immunity to fight in areas of the map they just simply don't want to. You know, they really want to be fighting in positions where they can get some kills with the wards and then just take a tower right away with the wards helping out and pushing on that front. And instead, Arrow are taking the fight to them.
Like I said, I don't think the Lone Druid's hit a tower since he bought the Desolator.
Yeah, I actually don't think he has at all.
Because all they've had is the bottom tower, and Arrow's done an insanely good job of fighting them before they can get there.
Yep. So Arrow will stay grouped up in their jungle here. They know Immunity are in the general vicinity and want to continue commencing the push. Guani nearby, I guess in case a smoke rotation comes, he will be able to break it. So nice positioning on the side of the tree line there. Arrow sort of with the same idea, hiding in the tree line in case Immunity come over with a potential smoke rotation. There is potential for Arrow to get wiped up if they take a really bad engagement, like Slicks gets the jump on him, and Shaitan does have a Blink Dagger now, so like a huge dunk could just trash him in a team fight, but it would have to be pretty spot on, hitting like basically all 5 of their heroes. And then Immunity will just back off, so back to farming we go, and
This does not benefit Immunity.
furthers that Arrow lead that much more. Looking at the graph, totally zeroed out in gold, but 14,000 experience in the favor of Arrow. That is a pretty big difference, no doubt about it.
As we said before, this like the Lone Druid bear just does not farm very fast without a Radiance or a Maelstrom.
Yeah,
it's just very slow go
Radiant's
in terms of his
top
farming.
tower is under attack.
So that itemization not killing any more towers just means that it's very hard to
kind of just sitting there.
Stay the same as a Ember Spirit Doom.
They will go for the wraparound. Top tier 1
Radiant
tower
structures
will
are
get
fortified.
glyphed. Buy it some time. Arrow will play it smart and start to sound the retreat, but Immunity, they'll go completely around the backside.
Positioning is good for Immunity. We'll see if it pays off.
But can they find somebody to jump? They ping out the Shadow Demon. He'll be the first one to get caught, and he will go down. No, Mosin's there with the Shallow Grave. He will get caught by the dunk, but has a heal for himself as Lance presses forward. And now it's, well, looking a little bit better for Arrow as they do pick up a couple of kills. And, yeah, now Balls is going to get completely isolated, and Immunity are just going to get completely cleaned up. Meanwhile, Shanghai just chases the Prophet all the way down. And it just broke out into all these little skirmishes, and that's not where Immunity shines. Mosin, again, you mentioned the Graves being on point, man. He's just in the right place at the right time. I thought that Shadow Demon was dead for sure. He had that Grave off in like the very last second.
And that's exactly what they want. Like if you're going to be engaging and focusing all your initial damage on a Shadow Demon on a support, you've got to kill him. Yeah. If you don't kill him, then your engagement is going to be for naught.
Yeah, and now they'll move into the high ground. No glyph available. Immunity not looking so great in terms of buybacks here. and they'll be able to do a sizable amount of damage. Slick did not use his wards in the last fight, so we'll be able to use them to try and make a defense. Shackle's coming out on a Lance, but the Shallow Grave is there, and that'll be the end of the Shadow Shaman. Shaitan just barely lives. Rosta wards are doing a lot of damage at this stage of the game, and it will be enough to repel Arrow. But it's, as we've said several times now, this is immunity just stalling. And stalling is okay. It'll extend their lifetime in this game, but being able to turn this around and actually make it a win, every time those Rosta wards are used to not get an objective, it feels like it's just one step closer to Arrow taking a win, and now the items are really stacking up. There's your Shivas on Doom. Ember Spirit now has a Crystalist to go with all his other items, and he basically has a Daedalus here. Viper will find a solo kill on the Prophet, who is... Wait, did he just TP to the base trying to snipe the Courier again? Is that what happened?
I
think that that's where he died, so okay.
Yeah, must have.
Yeah, now Doom comes out onto the Enchantress mid. She'll fall. And Shaitan looking for the fissure. Will connect on Zhang Zai, but gets force stabbed out. And will be A-okay. So yeah, all these big items coming. Viper did complete his Ags now to go with his pipe and his mech. I almost said his mic and his peck. Oh, Balls. You better be careful, dude.
Balls.
Oh, no.
Oh, bullets.
Balls, you silly dog. He's going to get Viper struck. He'll go down. Shaitan, well, he'll stay alive for a few more seconds as he moves into the Nether Realm, but the heal bomb comes out from Dazzle, and I think we're probably moments from a GG here. Immunity have very little resources left. Slicks does have a buyback if he gets taken out, and we'll have Mass Serpent Wards in 10. Again, they might be able to delay just a little bit longer, but to what avail here, Brian? To what avail?
None. Arrow basically played this perfectly. They didn't freak out at the fact that they lost 5 of their towers in the first teens of minutes of the games. They stayed smart. They made good smoke engagements. They took the fight to immunity, realizing that was the best way to go about it. Executed their fights and then turned the game around.
And now they're just going to clean up the team. They'll finish off the Enchantress. Slicks will get picked off. And Zhang Zai, well, he'll get stuck in the well. He'll
be aggressive.
Get a little silly.
They got to get Lance that unstoppable streak.
Yeah, buyback from Slicks. And Immunity will stay in it a little bit longer. It was a good start for Immunity, though. They had the right idea. They got a lot of work done with the initial Rasta ultimate. But
I really think it was more of just Arrow playing well than it was Immunity playing badly. Yeah. They just had a very specific niche of their lineup that had to succeed at this one role, and Arrow just did a very, very good job of forcing fights, forcing them to use wards in spots where they either didn't have to fight on top of them or it wasn't on top of the tower. And
yeah, Ember Spirit's just huge now. That's the big problem. Ember Spirit is just so well suited to deal with this strategy. It was a 5th pick from Arrow and a very smart one at that. The GGs will come out, and that will be the end of our first game of Starladder SEA coverage tonight. So convincing win for Arrow. Our next game should actually be starting basically momentarily. We were so delayed getting into this one. It will be Invasion versus Insidious Idol. So I don't know if there's too much more to say about this one, Brian. So
I don't believe so.
We'll have a little break and 2 more games of Southeast Asian Starladder Dota coming your way, folks.